In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast, as promised, my brother James is going to drop off the second half of the lottery from his Big Board 4.0. So stay tuned to find out who made the cut to be a lottery pick in James's latest Big Board. Big shout out to each and every person that has made this your first listen of the day. And in this case, it could be your second listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my brother and my co-host, James Barlowe. And like I mentioned, this episode is James's Big Board 4.0, the second half of his projected lottery picks. Before we get into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. You can turn any TV into your Xbox. No console is needed. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV locked on to learn more. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode, because days like today, you might get 2 episodes. All right, let's get into it. In the first episode of James's Big Board 4.0, we covered his top 7 prospects. Duke's Cooper Flagg was the number 1 pick. No surprise there. At 2 and 3, he had Rutgers' Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. At number 4, James had Oklahoma freshman Jeremiah Fears. At 5, he had Baylor's VJ Edgecombe. At number 6, he had Texas's Trey Johnson. And at number 7, he had Maryland's Derek Queen. So we are 7 for 7 on freshmen. And this, the freshman class came in with a lot of hype and fanfare. I mean, you can basically, it's safe to say that they lived up to the hype and the expectations. I mean, could we have a full freshman lottery? I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out the rest of James's lottery picks in this episode. All right, let's start off at number 8. You have Duke's Khaman Maluach. What do you like about Maluach? But you got to let us know, what are some of your concerns? Let's get into the numbers. 7'2" freshman. So he's got like a 7'5", 7'6" wingspan. Average 8.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1.3 blocks per game. Shot 71% from the floor, 76% from the foul line, 25% from 3. But he only played 21 minutes per game. So tell me what you like about Maluach, and then also let me know some of your concerns.
Obviously, you mentioned it, the frame, the measurables, those are great. I do think as a play finisher, I mean, you saw it. He's got good hands in traffic, and he finishes at a high level. And, he's young, 18-year-old big, and also I look at what he did in the summer playing for the South Sudan national team. He showed glimpses of being able to do a little bit more as far as stretching the floor out. And also in the Basketball Africa League. Again, I understand it's not the NBA. I understand it's not even college basketball. But he was featured there. And maybe, just maybe, he's more than just a rim runner. So those are the things I do like about him. My concerns are, again, maybe it's just, a preference thing. But I don't want to say I'm cool on rim runners. But I feel like rim runners, you can get a good rim runner at basically almost any point in the draft. And while he does have good defensive numbers, he wasn't like a dominant shot blocker like you expect him to be, especially with his athleticism and with his, measurements. So I still think, though, even though he was productive in the 21 minutes per game, I still do think long-term he is a project. So that is basically why I have him at 8. I know, Toronto may entertain drafting the big. And again, as a play finisher, he should translate, but I still think he is very much still like a project, though.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some people think he can go as high as 4. Some are like, hey, man, he's still raw, still long ways to go. I've even heard some people say that they don't think he has really good hands. And then he gets a lot of credit for his defense, but the numbers as far as blocks are just not eye-catching. Even if you do per 36, they don't really pop out. It's just 2.2 blocks per game. What's interesting is, now he did play less minutes. He averaged 0.2 more blocks than Derek Queen, a guy who people say is not a rim protector, but he played only 21 minutes per game. He's going to be interesting. He's going to be interesting simply because you can get athletic rim runners later on in the draft. We've seen some guys be successful. You know, Rudy Gobert was like the 27th pick. Jared Allen. You got Mitchell Robinson in the second round.
Daniel Gafford was a second round pick.
Gafford was a second round pick. But then you've seen like Derek Lively, who was very important in Dallas's run last year, was a lottery pick. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. All right, let's move to a guy that I'm really high on. And I haven't put on my big board yet. I was waiting on
where you gonna have
the final list.
Where you gonna have him at?
I gotta look. Actually, you know that they'll find out, but it's within his range. And at number 9, you have French prospect Noa Essengue, who is playing for Radio Farm Shout out to Radio Farm man. One of the few, if not the only, European teams that let the young fellas rock out. They let them play through mistakes. But Essengue listed at 6'9", 195. I mean, when you look at the numbers, 12 points per game, 5 rebounds, shot 56% from the field, 29%. And I don't even know how accurate these numbers are. I mean, they changed. They could have had a game today. But one of the things that you cannot deny about Essengue, whether you are, not high on his archetype, the man is productive at every level. And he spent probably half the season as a 17-year-old playing in Germany's top league. Doesn't turn 18 until December. Is barely eligible. If he was born like 2 weeks later, he wouldn't even be in the 2025 NBA draft. So with that being said, tell me what you like about Noa Essengue, and also let me know some of your concerns.
So Noa Essengue, the production, the measurements, the motor, like those things just they jump off the screen when you watch his tape. And we had a chance, the opportunity, to see him when we were in Dubai at the Next Generations tournament. And like, obviously that was his age group and, it was his level of competition, but like he dominated and he had some massive like number games and he was missing free throws like crazy. Yep. So I think he is a play finisher with a motor, does need to get stronger, and he definitely needs to improve as a shooter because he's almost a non-shooter, but he shoots the ball with confidence and has been shooting the ball with confidence as of late. And you can't tell him he's not a non-shooter. So like you like the progression that he's made to going from just like a legit, again, no disrespect, like a bad shooter to like he's developing. And again, you factor in his age, I think he's like a tremendous upside play. And I don't think you should people shouldn't hold the French allegations because you see Tijon kind of struggling. Like he's not Tijon. I think he has more skill. He's still raw, but like I'm buying his motor. He's a project. And again, in 3 years, he'll be what, 20, 21? So like I like him a lot. And that's why I have him at 9.
Concerns? Just shooting?
Shooting is a concern. Strength is a concern, but he plays strong. So like he'll get bumped around, but eventually as he grows up, he'll be fine. But shooting is his main concern. But at the same time, like I feel like as a play finisher, he'll be fine because he does know how to cut and he hits the glass and like he's trying to dunk everything, even though he's only 180, 190 pounds.
Yeah, I love him. I love him. Skinny, tough, and he's just productive. He just finds ways to put the ball in the basket. And I think his thin frame also is going to help him as a defender because he's able to I think he's the type of guy that can chase guys through picks. Yeah, he may get hit a few times, but I think with his length, I can visualize him as being like a Tayshaun Prince type defender.
Jaden McDaniels for the new
Jaden McDaniels. If he's a Jaden McDaniels or Tayshaun Prince type defender, I mean that's
if he's a
lot of bread.
If you a Jaden McDaniels type of player, I mean, like Jaden is defending and sometimes he's sneaking in 20-point games. Like that's very valuable.
Yeah, and that's a guy that is staying on the floor in the playoffs.
For sure.
All right, up next, we're going to talk about Duke's Kon Knueppel. James is going to explain why he has Kon Knueppel as a top 10 pick. And then we're going to cover James's picks or his prospects 11 through 14. Have you ever checked your bank account and you wonder where did all the money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's pretty easy to lose track. And that is where Monarch Money comes in. It can be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money isn't just your typical budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you can start building wealth. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts. You can set goals. You can stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, second segment, Kon Knueppel. You have Kon as a top 10 pick, and Kon is coming off a strong freshman year where he lived up to the expectations. He didn't have a whole lot of buzz like his senior year in high school, but then it's like you started hearing over the summer, hey, this Kon Knueppel kid, Kon is he's gonna be one and done. Then it got to the point where you started hearing, I think Kon could be Duke's leading scorer. That didn't happen. It was Cooper Flag. But Kon had a really good freshman year, 14.4 points, 4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, averages steal per game on 48, 40, 91 shooting splits. Got to love the efficiency there. So tell me why you like Kon, but you also got to let me know, what are your concerns?
So Kon, before I see what I like about Kon, at first I saw his name buzzing around and I got to watching this film and I was like, he can shoot. That's it, right? Yeah, he's all right. And then he had moments where it was like, okay, he wasn't playing well against some of the top competition. And then he kind of figured, the shooting has always been there. I have Kon at 10 because I'm buying the shooting. I like his size at about 6'7". I saw him in person when they played at SMU. He's a stocky, husky dude, strong dude. And he's a good, don't want to call him a playmaker or a passer. I don't know. But I know in pick and roll, he knows how to find the roll guy. And in this case, it was Maluach. And they had great chemistry. But am I calling him a playmaker? I'm going to call him a passer because he doesn't make plays for himself. His shots aren't self-created. So I can't call him a player. That's just my definition. My concerns are he does compete, but he's not an athlete. So on the defense end, will his defense be strong enough since this is the playoff time, will his defense be strong enough to where he does not get played off the floor? He's going to get attacked regardless, but will be able to keep him on the floor. I think he's a good team defender, but I do think there are going to be athleticism concerns and defensive concerns. But again, in the right situation, talking about somebody who's going to stretch the floor, high IQ, all those he's got all those attributes that you would expect for somebody who looked like him that went to Duke to have. But I think he's a long-term pro. Like, he's going to play for a long time because he can shoot the ball, and he's a heady player.
All right, you got to sell me on this. Number 11, you have Jase Richardson. Jase Richardson is, you can make a case and say he's the biggest surprise of the first round. Wasn't someone that was projected to be one and done. When's the last time Michigan State had a guy that was one and done? Was it Zach Randolph? It's been a while. Michigan State is not a
Jerry Jackson.
Oh, yeah, Jaren Jackson. Yeah, 2018. But Michigan State's not a program that is known for just pumping out one and dones. Jase Richardson has put himself in position to be a one and done. I look at Tankathon from time to time, and they have like stat strengths and stat weaknesses, and his stuff is all green. Only thing they say is that he is not a good rebounder, but he averaged 12 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and the analytics love him. 49% from the floor, 41% from three, 83% from the foul line. You tell me why you like him. Also, let me know your concerns because I'm struggling. I'm trusting my gut feeling.
Trust me, Raf.
I'm trusting my gut feeling.
Forget your gut, man.
I got major concerns about Jase Richardson, despite the efficiency. But
so the floor is mine. The efficiency is too good to ignore. Now, I get it. He might be 6'3", and I say might. He might be 6'3". He did not inherit his brother's athleticism or his dad's athleticism.
Hey, let me speak on that real fast. I was at EYBL. Jackson Richardson was jumping out the gym to the point where we had debates. Does he got more bounce than his father? And his father had incredible bounce. I mean, we had a whole debate, me and the scout, and he evaluated Jason Richardson when Jason was in high school, and he said that Jason is better off 2 feet.
Yeah.
Like, he was unbelievable off 2 feet, but he feels like Jax is better off 1 foot, but he sides with Jason Richardson having the most bounce. But Jason told Scout that Jackson jumps higher than him. But anyway, Jace is not a bouncy.
Nah. He didn't get that. He got the last name, but he didn't get the hops. But with that said, he's a left-handed, he's a crafty, undersized shooting guard. I had my reservations at first because, again, not because he's a numbers darling, is because he might be 6'3", and he's not really a point guard. But I looked at what Jared McCain did, and Jared McCain, in my opinion, had the same concerns. I think Jared McCain is 6'4", but they similar build, okay athletes, good shooters. Jared McCain, had he not got hurt, maybe he's accepting the Rookie of the Year award instead of my guy, Stephon Castle. We don't know. I feel like at this point in the draft, we're talking about number 11, there's some teams that aren't like terrible where you bottoming out, but you got some pieces. I feel like Jase Richardson, is somebody you can put on the floor and you pair him next to a big guard, and you don't have to have him be like your playmaker, because I'm just not buying him as a point guard at the next level. That's fine, but he's just such a good shooter, so crafty. He finished at like 62% at the rim, and he
doesn't miss floaters.
He doesn't miss floaters.
The numbers are a little deceiving because, yes, it's at the rim, but it's not layup. His touch around the rim, his floater.
It's too good to ignore, Ralph. When we talk about somebody shoot, the only guy who was more effective in the paint than him was Dylan Harper, who's like probably 4 or 5 inches taller than him.
Yeah.
So my concerns are, yes, he is small. So it's gonna be situational. I would love him in Orlando. I don't think Orlando's not gonna pick where I have him at, but maybe they trade up, maybe he moves down. I feel like Orlando will work out for him perfectly because he wouldn't have to be. They would mask his like deficiencies. So like the shooting, like the craftiness, concerns are not necessarily the athleticism, but like what position does he play on the offensive end? Because again, the team may say I'm drafting him at 11, and he's not a point guard, at least not to me.
All right, let's move on to Rasheer Fleming. You have Rasheer Fleming as a lottery pick. You have him at number 12 on your big board. Tell me what you like about Rasheer, but also, let us know the concerns.
Listen, I'm here by myself, at least this high on Rasheer Fleming. That dude is very good at basketball. Rasheer Fleming, he's a 4. He reminds me of Tari Eason, who plays for the Rockets right now in the playoffs, where you can guard 3s, guard 4s, maybe guard some 5s. He blocks shots. He makes 3s. He shot like 38% from 3 this year. And the same things, and we'll talk about him, but the same like defensive like counting stats he had similar to Collin Murray-Boyles, but he is a better athlete, above the rim finisher, and he shot better from 3. And he's a young junior. He's only 20 years old right now. I'm buying him at the 4. I think he's going to be really, really good, really, really productive. And he has, maybe you don't want to see it, but he can put the ball on the ground just a little bit, enough to the point where he should be able to at least attack and close out, especially if that 3 ball continues to go down the way it has been at St. Joe's.
Okay, shot 39% from 3 this year, 14.7 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.9 stocks per game, which is 1.5 blocks, 1.4 steals. Also shot 53% from the floor. I've liked Rasheer Fleming since the very first time I saw him play. What's interesting is, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost certain he was on the same high school team as DJ Wagner and Aaron Bradshaw. Those dudes got all the love. They got all the hype. They were supposed to be one and done. They going back for year 3. And Rasheer is
School
going
3.
to be. What's that?
I said school 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. For Aaron Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Third school. But Rasheer Fleming is a guy that I really like his game, man. I like bigs that can protect the rim and also space the floor. So I agree with him being a lottery pick. All right. Up next, we're going to round out James's lottery. So stay tuned to find out who the last 2 prospects James has in his lottery from his Big Board 4.0. Spring is here, and that means it is home project season. Whether you are refreshing a room or tackling a full renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things when it comes to home improvement. So whether it is a small update like a stylish cabinet or major upgrades and vanities to sinks and outdoor lighting, Wayfair has the quality products for every budget. You can upgrade your kitchen. With Wayfair, they have free and fast shipping that makes it very easy. There's no need to haul the heavy items from the store. They have some of the top brands like GE and Moen at good prices. And shopping is very, very easy. You can find exactly what you need to fit any space and any style. And Wayfair makes home improvement simple and easy. So get started now at wayfair.com. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style for every home. All right, number 13, you have Illinois freshman Kasparas Jakucionis, 6'6", 200-pound guard, average 15 points, 5.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists per game on 44, 31, 84 shooting splits. Let me know what you like about Jakucionis.
I like that he's a rebounding guard. I like that he's a big point guard. Don't think he's 6'6", but if he's 6'4", he's still a big point guard. I do think that while the numbers weren't the greatest, they fluctuated. Obviously, he started off smoking hot. But I do think he will be a good shooter, good enough shooter. I think that I have him at 13 because I think he should be a pass first point guard, not a lead point guard, more of a steady to ship kind of point guard. He shot 39% unguarded, and I know he only shot what you said. I forget what he was, like 32% from 3. So I do think he will be better. A lot of his threes, at least in self-creation, or a lot of his jump shots in self-creation are step-back threes. My concerns about Jakucionis and why I just can't put him in my top 10. For someone who's supposed to be a high IQ, playmaking savant, he turns the ball over way too much.
I want to adjust this. Why does he get the label as high IQ? And I feel the same way about Danny Wolf. These are 2 guys that people always say high IQ. And I'm saying, I'm not calling them low IQ guys, but it's interesting to see 2 guys that people say high IQ, high IQ, high IQ. But they're getting you like 3.7 or 3.5 turnovers per game. Now, I'm just going to keep it real. I think there's some guys, if they look a certain way and they average 3.7 turnovers a game, they would not be called high IQ.
Jakucionis comes from the European system, and people think that the Europeans play. They'll tell you, shoot, not just people. They play high IQ basketball. I mean, Dennis Schroeder went out and said that, the coaching is better, that was better, and we just go out there and hoop. And all right. And then Danny Wolf case, I mean, he went to Yale. I don't care how many times I turned the ball over. I went to Yale. You're going to call me high IQ. Like, that's just, it is what it is. But Jakucionis, he turns the ball over too much for me. And I don't think he can consistently beat anybody off the dribble. Even though he did shoot 62% at the rim, it was on like 80-something attempts, which was like on the low end for all point guards in this draft. So I think he is.
So maybe he's a high IQ guy because he knows only to get in the paint when he can finish.
You know what? That's probably partially true. You got to pick your battles. I give him that. And this is not to, poop on him or nothing like that. I don't see franchise level point guard. I think he's going to be a high level backup point guard, or we got two wings and we just need you to bring the ball up the court a couple times. Even though he kind of struggles bringing the ball up the court at times. I think he's like Lonzo. So a healthy Lonzo is your third playmaker in the half court. And that's what I think Jakucionis is going to be like.
All right. Collin Murray-Boyles. What made you flip? You were like me. You was on the fence about CMB. You weren't really high on him, and you have him as a lottery pick. Is that a result of the talent thinning out in this draft, or what just made you switch? Because, like I said, I know you were not the biggest Collin Murray. I don't want to say you weren't the biggest Collin Murray-Boyles fans, but I know you had a lot of concerns. You always expressed more concerns than strengths about Collin Murray-Boyles, but you got him at number 14. For those that aren't familiar with CMB, I've seen him listed at 6'7", 245, but he averaged 16.8 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1.5 steals on 58, 26, 70 shooting splits. So tell me what you like about him, why you think he's a lottery pick, but also let me know what makes you a little bit, pump the brakes a little bit.
I pushed the gas because I saw what he did to John Broome. And he destroyed him off the dribble. So with that being said, I know he's undersized. I know he can't shoot. And I kind of think he's an overrated playmaker. But at 6'7", at the 4 spot, if he's a good enough playmaker, and you add that with his ability to put the ball on the ground, that is what sold me into putting him this high. Now, depending on who you ask, depending on who you search for on Twitter, I see him super duper high. I can't get down with that. Everybody's got their own opinion. I'm not here to, disrespect anybody's opinion. But I feel like at this spot, we're talking about the defense is going to be fine. And again, I'm buying. I just think that if he's able to put the ball on the ground, he can create mismatches, create plays for himself, even though I don't think he can shoot. And, if he is 6'7", that'd be great. But like I said, concerns, shooting, size, and ultimately, if he can't shoot, is he a 5 at 6'7"? People like to throw out Draymond, but there's only one Draymond, and there's only going to be one Draymond. And I don't know, man. I don't think I can make that comparison.
I mean, different body types, but does he play the Jared Vanderbilt role where, you're like a defender, you're like a utility guy? Jared Vanderbilt can make some passes. I mean, people don't remember Jared Vanderbilt.
They don't ask him to pass, though. That's the thing, because it's not worth it, because we just need you to defend and go push somebody and start a fight. That's what Jared Vanderbilt's new role is.
I mean, they didn't ask him to do nothing in the game on Sunday in the second half. But, I mean, I've seen them give him the ball like the middle of the floor a little bit. I mean, you can see, flashes of why he was, a point guard in high school. But shout out to Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, he went from being, a point forward that people thought was Lamar Odom to just being a defender, small ball, 5.
Utility player, man.
Utility guy. Hey, man, cash those checks. But with CMB, I was talking to somebody at the EYBL, and I was just there's a scout that I speak with, and I was just like, man, tell me if I'm wrong on this guy, or what are your thoughts? Am I missing something? And he said that CMB had the worst teammates in the history of SEC basketball, and he said the fact that he had that team competitive, just to be able to at least stay in games, was a testament to how good he is.
I respect that, and I don't hold them being trash against him. I just, even though they were trash, he's like a bowling ball in short pick and roll. He's gonna have to be able to shoot. And in 2 years, he just hasn't shown you the ability that he can shoot. Now again, he's gonna be super productive, but I don't know, man. I like that he can put the ball on the ground. And I'm just going to hope that he's able to be like a 30% 3-point shooter, because then that unlocks a bunch of stuff. And maybe he's like, great value Draymond. Even though I don't like comparing people to Draymond.
I mean, I'm coming around on him. He's a young sophomore, 20 years old. I'm doing this thing this year, and I am doing this, where I'm going down the list, and I'm saying, am I sure player A is better than player B?
I did that with him and Rasheer Fleming.
My thing is, am I sure Collin Murray-Boyles is better than Yaxel Lindenberg? Am I 100% sure? Now, it may be a 3 or 4 year age difference. You got to factor that in. But am I sure he's that much better? And I spoke with, and I keep saying it, but I spoke with, there's a lot of NBA people.
And man, Raf is not lying when he says he speaks with these people. Like when I go out with Raf and we get a basketball event, like I'm just sitting there like, hey man, Raf is like, hey man, this is that dude. That's who he is. He listens to the podcast. He's not lying. I know some people could easily be like, I got sources, but not Raf's telling the truth. I'm not just telling you that because he's my brother.
Hey man, Benny the Butcher said, I'm really in the field. I ain't Skip Bayless. And, I really be in the gym, man. And so somebody said, this guy or scout he asked me, did I like Asa Newell? I was like, I'm kind of iffy on him. He was like, I watched Collin Murray-Boyles destroy Asa Newell. And I said, yeah, I saw him destroy Broom. He said he saw him destroy Asa Newell in person. He said they should not be in the same draft range. So he said, take that how you want to take it, but they should not be in the same draft range.
I don't have any. I'm not knocking that because I don't have them in that same draft range.
I see. Well, that wraps up this 2-part series. This is part 2, where James dropped off the lottery picks from his big board 4.0. Let us know what you think. I'm sure there's people who are going to disagree, which is totally fine because we all have opinions. But let me know which players that you think James is too high on or too low on. Who was missing from James' lottery? Let us know in the comments on the YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop. And in the next episode, Leaf Tulane is coming on, and he called me with a wild take. Maybe it's not too wild, but Leaf Tulane is going to be on the next episode. He is going to compare Cooper Flagg to Jason Tatum. You don't want to miss that one. Me and James are out of here.